Hey guys, and welcome back. I am Sam Crack, right now driving the Audi S3. It's the only car that I could actually use today because the Fiesta is trapped behind the Mercedes. Mercedes is up with work being done to it. As you can see right here, I've got the wheels off. Work will be done on that very soon. Probably when I get home, I'll finish that up. But while I was on this short drive, what I wanted to do, besides put this car in comfort mode so it doesn't make a lot of noises. You know, there's a few different modes in this car, and it's notably stiffer when I'm driving in the sport mode. And honestly, I've spent such little time with it, I still have a hard time figuring out, oh, here it is right here, how to put it in. All right, now that we've got that out of the way, today I wanted to discuss with you how I actually came to purchase or win the Money Pit Jetta, even though I didn't win it at auction. So what happened is I was naive. I had won 2 cars before the Fiesta. It was pretty much finished, not 100%. The Lincoln MKC, which I'm going to do a whole video on that, tell you how much it cost. That was a huge home run. That Lincoln MKC, I had just come off of buying that car. I enjoyed it a few thousand miles. I really wanted to move on and get another car. And you gotta figure this. So the Fiesta was an inexpensive car. I've said in previous videos that I paid $2,900 for just the car, not including any fees or anything else. But as far as the Lincoln goes, that was a 2015 Lincoln MKC with minor damage. The car retailed for about $46,000 new, or about $33,000, $34,000 used. In the current condition that it would have been in had it been at a dealership with a clear title. And so, since the Lincoln was such a great deal, what I figured is hey man, how could I lose? You know, the Fiesta was a challenge, but I got it done. The Lincoln was such a home run. So I'm gonna just go in, and one of the things I did years and years ago is whenever I was new to eBay, I wanted everything in the world. Well, I got my first job working at, funny enough, Sam's Club, and I was making, you know, a couple dollars over minimum wage or whatnot. Once I started getting money, I bought a new cell phone, I bought other sorts of stuff. But what I realized is that, you know, I can also get rid of my old stuff to help pay for this new stuff. And say I ordered a cell phone, I didn't really like the way it worked and wanted to go back to my old one. Well, all I would do is just resell it back on eBay. So for me to order a cell phone for $200, $300, not like it, I just put it right back on eBay and get my $200, $300 back, or maybe minus $20, maybe plus $20. So I did that for a while, years ago. And my big issue is I treated Copart in the salvage auctions like it was my personal eBay again. Hey, I get this Jetta, you know, it's gonna be no big deal, I'll fix it, and I won't keep it long, whatever. So I saw the Jetta, I was satisfied with the condition it looked like it was in, and okay, right there, I know you guys are gonna say, well, you didn't go look at it, and you're darn right, I didn't go look at it, but there was way more evidence that the car had been doctored up that I was just too naive and I didn't understand. And that's really the reason for a lot of the Jetta videos, is to show you how wrong something can go. And mind you, this is minimal. The Money Pit Jetta, even though it's a huge, huge headache, it's been a huge drain on time and resources, it is totally minimal comparatively to what you could get yourself into. Somebody wrote me an email. I won't get into the details now because there's a lot of personal information they didn't want me to disclose, but I'll just tell you this. They bought a car, and it was a relatively new car, let's say a year or two old. When they got the car, it had a totally wrong motor in it. Now, you want to talk about crazy stuff. This stuff exists. A friend of mine who's been buying from the auctions for years longer than myself, he bought a Volkswagen GTI once. The transmission didn't work, so he opened it up. The transmission, it was just a transmission housing. They had taken all the gears and everything out of the transmission, which is unbelievable. But anyway, going back to the story, I saw a bunch of different cars. I probably bid on a half a dozen of them within a week. And the reality is, you're not going to win every one, but you're definitely going to win one of the ones you bid on. So the Money Pit Jetta, I put in a bid at $2,500. And I thought, okay, if I win this thing for $2,500, it's going to be great because I can probably fix it for another $2,500, $3,000, be on the road. That's all the damage looked like in the photos. So put the bid in, and the car only went for $1,900, which to me was like, wow, Sam, you completely overbid on that car. Now, I thought it was a GLI, it was an Autobahn edition. It was the highest end trim Jetta you could buy at the time. I thought, hey, this is totally it's gonna go for way over $2,500, so you're not gonna win, but if you do, great. So it only went for $1,900. At that point, when I saw that, I said, okay, well, the reserve wasn't met. Oh, and by the way, there was a buy it now for $4,000. So since the reserve wasn't met, I didn't think anything of it. You know, being used to eBay and all that, when the reserve's not met, the auction ends, nothing happens. Can the seller offer to you after the auction? Absolutely, and that's what ended up happening. So, and I didn't accept that offer. That's why this story is very interesting, something you guys need to know in case it happens to you. So I went and I didn't get any email. When you lose the auction or you don't hit the reserve, you might get an email later saying, hey, you missed out, but here's some similar ones, so Copart can try and sell you another car. But basically what ended up happening was I got an email later that evening, and that email said, hey, you didn't win the car, but would you like to buy it for $3,000? And again, knowing that it only went for $1,900, I was like, absolutely not. I don't even really want it for $2,500 anymore. At this point, the Money Pit Jetta was out of my mind. So I got that email, did not respond to it. Let me explain to you what happened between that email and a follow-up email saying, hey, you won the car for $2,500. I said, wait a minute, how did that happen? I finally clarified it with the broker. What ended up happening is, like I said, the seller reaches out after the auction. They don't want to send the car to auction again because it costs them money. And it's usually a few $100s to resend the car through auction. When you're talking about a car that's a few $1,000s, you don't want to keep sending it to auction over and over and over again, because 3-4 times at auction, you could be talking about $1,000 really quick, and your car's only a couple grand. So anyway, the seller reached out to the broker. They offered it to me for $3,000. Since I didn't reply, the seller, and when I say the seller contacts Copart, Copart contacts the buyer. Copart acts as the middleman. Well, I'm the buyer, but really my buying agent, aka my broker, is the one they're reaching out to. So they reached out to my broker. They said, hey, you know, we didn't get a response from him, so no deal at $3,000. We can't accept that. But in between that conversation, the broker definitely told Copart that, hey, he put in, his high bid was $2,500. So in the video I made just yesterday, I discussed how your high bid can be exposed, but sometimes you'll win an auction for less than your high bid. It's important to keep that in mind because you always want to win an auction less than you're set out to spend. Everybody does. And so they actually, the broker released it, and you got to understand, the broker's job is to sell you the car as well. So since they want to sell you the car so they make their commission off of it, Copart obviously wants to sell the car because they get a percentage off of it. And the seller, of course, he's got it at auction Y to sell the car. So you got three forces against you, let's say. But I did put that bid in, so I did commit to the car at $2,500. The fact is this: if I would have reached out to the broker and I would have said, hey, you know, thanks, but no thanks, I saw it went for a lot less, they would have stopped negotiations. They said, hey, the high bidder's out, he doesn't even want the car. They could have then went, if they wanted to get rid of it for under $2,000, they could have gone to the $1,900 guy and said, hey, do you want it? But at that point, if I would have just made one phone call, the Money Pit Jetta wouldn't have existed. I wouldn't have had it. Now, it's very possible that I could have bought something way more expensive and way worse a condition. The Money Pit Jetta was possibly the best lesson I could have had. It would have worked out a little bit better, say that I just took it in the current condition, paid the $2,500 plus the $1,000 between shipping fees and all that other stuff, and said, hey, you know, I sold it at a loss for $3,500 for parts or whatnot. I do think the car, I've said it today and I'll say it a million times, was totally worth at least $3,000 in parts. Working motor and transmission with 26,000 miles on it, a lot of working parts. leather interior, all that sort of stuff adds up real quick at a salvage yard. I think somebody for their own rebuild project would have paid me, you know, around $3,500 for it. It would have been best just to break even or even lose $500, because as I've disclosed in this video right here, I've lost thousands of dollars on it and really a lot of time. Again, total lesson. It's like another thing I've said to you, and I'll reiterate, it's like a tuition, a college tuition. Those aren't free. It's helped me purchase this Audi, make a pretty decent decision when purchasing this Audi, and also when helping others to bid on cars. I feel like I can give them a much better assessment because I've been through the Money Pit Jetta and I've seen the pre-photos now from the auction before it was actually sold to me, when it was sold by the insurance company. And it cued me into the dealer game of, hey, we're gonna make the car look a little bit better and send it right back through the auction, see if we can't make a couple grand on it quick. Because in reality, the business model of doctoring up a car and selling it for a few $1,000s more than actually going and doing a complete rebuild on a car and selling it for, again, they're only gonna make anywhere between, you know, let's just throw a number out and say 10% on it, 20% if it's a really good rebuild. They're not gonna make as much money. So that's why the game is so prevalent to doctor up a car, send it back to auction. Now, I hope you guys learned something from this. If you did, definitely hit the like button. I want to tell you one other thing that a lot of people write me and ask me, hey, how do you market your cars, sell them? I've said it before in other videos, and I realize there's a lot of new subscribers. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Thank you for all the current subscribers, but I want to reiterate, I do this as a hobby. I see the salvage car business as a difficult one to rebuild salvage cars and resell them. I think that there's things that you can do with salvage cars that would net you more of a profit, like say parting them out, than actually rebuilding them. Now, there are a few instances where there's a minor damage for whatever fluke reason, it gets totaled out. And in that case, those cars can be total winners if you're in the buy it, fix it, resell it business. It all depends on the car. There's too many variables to just say it's a bad idea, it's a good idea. That I will leave up to you guys. And with that being said, appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to write me an email, samcrackauto@gmail.com, or write me on Instagram. All of that information is in the description box below. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you very soon.